it's people from all walks of life now who apparently they're expecting teachers to teach them, how to behave, how not to bully other kids.
The thing is, Steve, back in the day when we were being brought up, there were only 3 TV channels, only a couple of radio channels. Now, as a parent, you've got so much telly to watch. How can you possibly effectively raise a child?
It's true. What about audio cassettes?
Exactly.
I mean, why not? If you don't want to read to your child, at least get Stephen Fry on cassette to read him Harry Potter. What's wrong with that?
Well,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
wrong with that. I mean, like my parents used to send me down the park, there's always a man lingering down at the park who will read something to a child.
Absolutely.
They'll happily do things. They'll happily teach a child to dress, undress, they'll do all sorts. There's always someone who's willing to do it.
Pass judgment on their toilet skills.
Exactly. Please, people, all I'm saying is, don't blame the teachers. Take that from me and nothing else. Richard Hawley, Born Under a Bad Sign, Steve Show's 6 Music. It just occurred to me that obviously Rossi has a lot of guests on his show, doesn't he? Has good guests.
Yeah.
And many of the other people in there obviously always have good guests. We often will have good guests on the show. I don't think we've not had good guests, good sessions. This week, sadly, we've not been able to track anyone down. It's been a difficult week, not a lot of people around. But I'm thinking to myself, hey, you know what? What's wrong with the listeners contributing? Often there's people out there with stories. They may not be celebrities, Rufus, or posh. They may not seemingly be worthy of our attention. Many of them aren't. But I guarantee that there's 1 or 2 people out there in 6 Music Land who are worthy of being interviewed. So I'm thinking, a great way of including the listener, great way of us filling up some time.
Clever.
Right? And also, as I say, we never know, there may be someone out there with something interesting. Get in touch if you think you are worthy of interview on the show. Don't worry, it's going to be a painless operation. Maybe you've done something, maybe you have some kind of story or life experience that you feel is worthy of interview. This could be our chance. Parkinson's no longer on. Rossi, he's not going to have you on unless he can flirt or be outrageous with you. So, there may not be many other opportunities for you to get on air, so get in touch with us. Let us know. Send an email or a text first so that we don't think you're a nut job. And let us know why you're worthy of interview. Get in touch.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
I think it's important that people have got something interesting to kind of fall back on, because a lot of the media now is just people going out into the streets with microphones and cameras and just getting words out of people's heads. I was watching the tragic coverage of Jade's tragic death and funeral yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't want to go into the details. However, they went down to Bermondsey and they were interviewing some of the locals, and they asked this woman, well, how do you feel about all this? And she said, well, she'll live on in all our hearts. She's very much one of us. We're all very proud of her. And it's my very strong feeling that had this awful disease not killed her, she would still be with us today.
Wow.
It was just astonishing.
That's remarkable. What news channel was that on?
I think that was Sky. It might have been the BBC, though. I don't want to be biased here, but it was just amazing.
Did the newscaster have any response to that?
No, because the newscaster can't. There's all kind of things going on in their head. They're being told what to do, so they just stood there with the mic going, more words, please.
Yeah. I remember seeing when there was some kind of murder occurred, and it was in sort of South London or somewhere, and there was one of those tents put up outside, in the garden around the house. The murder tent. Who knows what goes on. And obviously the camera crew was 400 feet down the road behind a cordon with a camera zooming in, trying to reach for any gory detail that it could through a sort of gap in the tent. The murder tent. And that's a great name for a film. The murder tent. And anyway, so they said a local guy, old gentleman, he'd sort of been in the area, and he said, what did you see? He went, well, yeah, I saw some police arrive. Okay, yeah, what happened next? Police arrived, they put up a tent. What, the tent over there? Yeah. Anything else? No, just police arrived, they put up a tent. Thanks very much, Jack. And that's preposterous.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. So if you've got something marginally more interesting than that to talk to us about, then you can get in touch and, as I say, let us know why you're worthy of interview.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
Perhaps you're someone who works inside a murder tent.
Oh,
that would be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be something.
A forensic expert's not listening to this. You've got better things to do. Man alive. Oh, well, anyway, Sammy, appeal to the listener.
I watched a very rude film this week called Short Bus. It was brilliant, but it was a little bit rude. So I advise, if you're of a nervous disposition, don't watch it, but it is brilliant, so go and watch it if you don't mind seeing naughty bits. And this song's actually played live within the film by a brilliant singer-songwriter called Jay Brannon, so I thought I'd play it this week. It's called Soda Shop.
Sammy's musical choice on this week's show.
That was Soda Shop by Jay Brannon, and that's from the Short Bus soundtrack. But he's got a few things on iTunes, so definitely try and seek him out.
Thank you very much. Produced by Andy Spence of New Young Pony Club. That is the first single from My Tiger, My Timing. It's released tomorrow and it's called This Is Not the Fire. Steve Show 6 Music. So if you think you are worthy of interview on the show, and don't worry, it's going to be a very friendly and cheerful, probing interview, then you can get in touch with us and let us know why. We do not have a guest this week, and we say to ourselves, why not talk to the listener? There's people out there with interesting lives, interesting stories to tell. If you want to get interviewed by us, then get in touch. Email or text. Let us know why you're worthy of interview, and then we'll give you a call if we think you are suitable.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
Some of the best interviews, of course, conducted on This Morning with Phil and Fern, and I read with great sadness that Fern's leaving the show, apparently. This is devastating news. But I'm thinking to myself, in an effort to gain more publicity for the programme, is there possibly a little opening there? Phil Schofield and Sammy. Think about it, alright? You know, brings in the youth.
Yeah.
And you've got a different angle. You're quite different to Schofield, dare I say. I hope that doesn't seem controversial.
No, that's fair enough.
But I'm thinking, you know, would you be interested in that sort of gig? Would you?
Yeah, definitely, but I'd feel more like, you know, it was Schofield and the puppet. He used to have Gordon the Gopher. I'd feel a bit like the puppet.
You're more Gopher-esque,
I wouldn't feel like an equal. He's a broadcasting legend.
Well, that's all right, because he could sit next to a little sort of like a raised table, and you could just crouch behind it with your little face popping up, just one arm probably. Both of which, or two arms on wires, and that would be tremendous. Do you feel that you could fill Fern's shoes, because you are the sort of person you're interested in all sorts of stuff?
I think I could, because I've got a very short attention span. So I could go from, on today's show, how to freeze off your own genital warts, fun things to do with pineapples,
yes.
a man who died tragically, and next, a puppy that can do something crazy.
Yeah.
I think I could swing like that.
Exactly, because and also you need a very short attention span, because no item can be about 2.5 minutes or longer. It has to be exactly that. So imagine if for instance, well, let's imagine Rufus is Denise Robertson, the one and only on the show.
Okay.
And you know, you've had an email from, say, Jackie, whose husband's got caught watching, you know, blue movies. Topical.
Edgy.
You know, so how would you conduct that interview with Denise for some advice?
Well, Denise would take the baton, really. This is Denise's area of expertise.
Yeah, you see, I've not watched the show, so I can't even do an off-the-cuff, humorous impression of Denise
You don't need to
Robertson.
do an impression, but what advice would you give to someone in that situation?
Well, Jackie, I don't know if your husband... I'm sure your husband still loves you. I'd kick off with that, because you've got to reassure the person... Are you doubting that?
No, go on, carry on, yeah.
It's obviously a very sad and difficult situation. I myself have indulged in erotic entertainment in the past. Doesn't mean I don't love my husband.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
That sort of thing.
Sure, that's wonderful. And now imagine you've moved from that, and perhaps you're interviewing my good self. I'm Michael Ball, the much-loved West End entertainer. How would you conduct that interview?
Michael, how did it feel to be a lass in the West End recently?
Really enjoyed it. I felt surprisingly comfortable in women's clothing. It's opened up a whole new area for my erotic love life.
That's nice to know, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you. Would
Is
you
that
like
too
to
much
stay
for 10:30 in the
and
morning?
taste some souffle?
I would very much enjoy that. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very
I
much.
think you've got the gig. This is a no-brainer. Rufus, as you probably know, the music blogs are abuzz about the new release from Brooklyn-based indie rockers Grizzly Bear. I imagine you've got some strong views.
I get the feeling, Steve, that my lack of knowledge of some of these branch-off groups is causing you some amusement.
It's not a branch-off group. Please do not embarrass yourself in that respect. They are a much-lauded band. They've perhaps not had the breakthrough success that a lot of people have hoped for. But this could be it. Wecker to Mest will be released at the end of May, and from it, that's the track Cheerleader.
I'm thinking with a catchy title like that, we're going to go straight to the top of the hit parade.
Oh, cool. Let's hope so. So if you would like to get in touch with us and let us know reasons why you are worthy of an interview after the news, then you can. Here's how.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
Think, you know, if you were ever to be on This Morning, or if you were to be on Rossi, or the late belated Parkinson, what would you go on there for? What would you talk about? What subject would you like to be interviewed on? Get in touch with us, and hopefully we'll speak to you after the news. From a new Saint Etienne compilation, that's Hug My Soul, of course. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, my gang of cronies here. We are looking for someone out there who is worthy of an interview on the show. Nothing too difficult, nothing too taxing, just if you have something interesting you'd like to discuss with us and be interviewed, then get in touch. And it's pretty much not a difficult thing, is it? You know, you've been interviewed now, Ruth, by me many times about many subjects.
That's right, Steve.
You just need, you know, a droll anecdote or something that's occurred to you in the given week.
Yeah.
You're looking good today, for instance.
Thank you very much.
Any revs?
Well, Steve, I've spent the past week in the city of Northampton.
Oh, yes.
Which is a nice city, and it's, of course, as I'm sure you know, the centre of UK shoemaking.
Yes. yes. That's where I go.
Any very, very smart pair of gentlemen's shoes that you see clicking up and down Jermyn Street of a weekday will probably have been made in Northampton. And as such, they have lots of factory outlet stores. You know, there's factory shops you can go to. And so I went to the tourist office. They gave me a map of all the poshest shoe manufacturing factory shops.
You specified only the poshest?
Oh, yes, please, yes. And I thought, well, I'll take myself off around Northampton, wear out a bit of shoe leather, as they say, and visit all these shops. Which I did, and I was staggered by the poor level of service in these shops.
Really?
Staggered! And you and I have moaned about poor service before on the radio. But to give you an example, I went to this shop. I don't know whether or not to name and shame the brands. I don't think I will. But I wish I could. But you know that the you know, we're talking Lob, Churches, Geoffrey West, Trickers, all these sorts of very posh
I've never heard of any of them.
Haven't you?
I thought you were going to say Clark's.
No. And so I went into one of them, and I was someone guided me into the shop because it was going to one at a time. They're very quiet, these places. And someone said, "I've got a customer for you, John." John didn't even look up from his computer. So I spent 5 minutes wandering around the shop without any help at all. And then he finally looked up and said, "Hello, can I help?" I thought, "Oh, yes, you can actually, champ." And it said, there was a certain racket that said 9/9.5. So I got a pair out. Said, "Are these 9s or 9.5s?" So he went, "I don't know, could be either." I thought,
I don't like John.
So I tried one on, and I thought, yeah, it's nice. I said, "Have you got the other one?" He said, "I hope so." Just looked at me, didn't move, just, "I hope so." I thought, this isn't going to be much fun, is it? And then I thought, and I got really cross because I thought, I know that you're really posh, and this is a really posh shop, and just a quick look at the sole of these shoes reveals that they cost £185. But I'm still the customer, and you're still the guy selling me the shoes, so do you want to be a little bit nicer?
Because you're working in a shoe shop.
In a shoe shop, really?
You might have a suit on.
Yeah.
You work in a shoe
That's
shop.
what's happening. And he said something like, "So what are you doing in Northampton?" I said, "Well, my wife's in a play here, and I'm just being a supportive husband." He said, "You're not an actor then?" I said, "Why not? Do I not look like one?" That was it's about the sharpest thing I managed to get out.
Brilliant.
And he said, "No, I just assumed that blah, blah, blah." And then he said, "So do you live in London?" I said, "You have to live there because all the meetings are there for actors." He said, "I can't think of anything worse." I'm just under his breath, can't think of anything worse. I thought, that's not very nice. So then I went to another shop, and all the shoes in there were £245 before anything happened. £245, usually £600 in London, these shoes. And so they said, "What sort of thing are you looking for?" I said, "Oh, I don't know, it's a brown."
Are these shoes made from human skin?
You think they were?
Goodness me.
Extraordinary price. I know. So I said, they said, "What are you looking for?" I said, "I had some brown brogues or something." "No, nothing like that." Just looked at me. "No, we haven't got nothing like that." And I, "What have you got?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Well, we got some slip-ons, some loafers, something like that. But nothing you're after, probably." And I was like, why are you talking like this? I've got money to spend in your shop. Just be a little bit kinder and warmer.
Dare I say it, Rufus, if you cannot get good service in a posh shop, I don't know what the world's coming to.
And neither do I, Steve. And I was wearing, you know, when you shop for posh shoes or posh, you usually wear like the version that you know the poshest shoes you've got when you go into the posh shop. And so if they look down, they'll go, "Oh, he's bought posh shoes before. He's not wasting our time," in order to kind of showboat a bit and impress them. But it wasn't cutting any ice with
Sammy's shaking her head. She's got no
Actually,
idea.
might as well be speaking in Spanish. I'm a lass and I love shoes, but my goodness, this is like a foreign language to me.
You don't walk into a shoe shop then with your nicest shoes on, just a pair of flip-flops, maybe no shoes.
I mean,
I need shoes.
my latest shoe conquest were $20 from a second-hand shop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my idea of a good shoe bargain.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't not.
You see, if you walked into one of those posh shoe shops, Sammy, dare I say it, you know, in your hoodie, in your tracksuit.
I think they'd freeze with horror and call the
Rightly
gods.
so, rightly